In the small village of Domremy, nestled amidst the rolling hills of medieval France, lived a young girl named Joan. Born to simple farmers, Joan possessed an extraordinary spirit that set her apart from her peers. From a tender age, she claimed to receive divine messages from the archangel Michael, instructing her to fulfill a sacred mission. As Joan matured, so did the intensity of her visions. The archangel guided her with a purpose that transcended the boundaries of her humble existence. The year was 1424, and the 100 Years' War between England and France raged on, casting a dark shadow over the land. Joan's visions grew more urgent, and the voices in her head compelled her to take action. Word of Joan's divine encounters spread through the village like wildfire, capturing the imagination of the villagers. Some revered her as a chosen one, while others dismissed her as a mere delusional girl. The local priest, Father Jacques, wrestled with the skepticism that gnawed at his beliefs. Despite his initial reservations, the undeniable sincerity in Joan's eyes persuaded him to lend her an audience. In a quiet corner of the village chapel, Joan and Father Jacques engaged in a conversation that would alter the course of history. The flickering candles cast dancing shadows on the walls as the two figures huddled together in the dimly lit space. Father Jacques, a man of devout faith, regarded Joan with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Her claim of divine messages from the archangel Michael challenged the boundaries of his understanding. He couldn't ignore the fervor in her eyes, the unwavering belief that emanated from her every word. "Child, these visions you speak of, do you truly believe them to be messages from the heavens?" Father Jacques questioned, his voice a low murmur that echoed in the chapel's sacred silence. Joan nodded earnestly, her eyes fixed on a distant point, as if seeing beyond the chapel walls. "Father, the archangel Michael speaks to me, guiding me to a sacred mission. The fate of our beloved France rests in my hands." Father Jacques sighed, torn between the teachings of the Church and the authenticity he sensed in Joan's presence. "Joan, you must understand that such claims are not to be taken lightly. The divine is a mystery, and we must approach it with caution." Joan clasped her hands together, her gaze intense. "Father, I do not ask you to believe blindly. I ask for your guidance, for your wisdom. The messages are clear. I must lead the French army to victory, and Charles, the Dauphin, must be crowned king." The priest furrowed his brow, contemplating the gravity of Joan's words. Leading armies, crowning kings, these are matters of great consequence, Joan. How do you know these visions are not tricks of the devil, leading you astray? Joan's eyes widened with a mix of determination and desperation. "Father, I know not the ways of angels and demons, but I feel a calling, a purpose beyond my humble existence. I implore you to help me understand, to discern the divine will from the temptations of the sinister." Father Jacques studied Joan's face, searching for any signs of deceit. The weight of his decision hung heavily in the air. Finally, he spoke with a measured tone. "Joan, if what you say is true, and these visions are indeed divine, then may the Almighty guide us. We shall seek an audience with the Dauphin, and you shall present your mission to him." And so, in that quiet corner of the village chapel, a pact was sealed between a skeptical priest and a visionary maiden. They would embark on a journey that would challenge the very foundations of their beliefs and shape the destiny of a nation. The flickering candles bore witness to a partnership born in the shadows, where faith and doubt converged on the precipice of an extraordinary destiny. As Joan and Father Jacques ventured forth to seek an audience with the Dauphin, they encountered numerous challenges on their arduous journey. The road was fraught with danger, and the skepticism surrounding Joan's divine mission intensified. Along the way, they faced a group of mercenaries who doubted Joan's abilities and questioned Father Jacques' decision to accompany her. In a dense forest, where shadows clung to ancient trees and the air hummed with an eerie stillness. The group found themselves surrounded by a band of hardened mercenaries. Armed with skepticism and a propensity for cruelty, the mercenaries demanded an explanation for their peculiar alliance. Joan, undeterred by the menacing glares, stepped forward with a quiet confidence. "I am Joan of Arc, guided by divine messages to lead the French army to victory. Father Jacques here believes in the righteousness of our cause. We seek an audience with the Dauphin to fulfill a sacred mission." Laughter erupted among the mercenaries, mocking the duo for their seemingly absurd quest. Their leader, a grizzled veteran named Renard, approached Father Jacques with a sneer. "Divine messages, you say? Your visions won't save you from the harsh realities of this world, priest. What makes you think we won't relieve you of your belongings and leave you stranded in this forsaken forest?" Father Jacques, despite his initial apprehensions, stood firm. "Our mission is not one of worldly gain, but of a higher purpose. We ask for safe passage, and in return, we offer only our gratitude and prayers." Renard's skepticism wavered for a moment as he studied Joan's unwavering gaze. The forest seemed to hold its breath, awaiting the outcome of this encounter. After a tense silence, Renard grunted and signaled for his men to step aside. "Divine mission or not, I've seen my share of battles. If you can convince the Dauphin to spare us the atrocities of war, you might just earn my respect," Renard grumbled before disappearing into the shadows. However, with great power came great scrutiny. Joan's rising influence fueled the suspicions of those who questioned the authenticity of her divine visions. Whispers of heresy spread like wildfire, threatening to engulf her in a different kind of fire, the flames of the Inquisition. The very institution that should have supported her now sought to extinguish the unconventional flame that burned within her. As Joan's victories mounted, so did the scrutiny from both allies and enemies. The Church, fearing her influence, sought to control and manipulate her divine connection. The voices in her head, once a source of guidance, now echoed with conflicting messages, some urging her to adhere to the Church's demands, while others reminded her of the purity of her original mission. Caught in the crossfire between earthly powers and heavenly directives, Joan found herself standing trial for heresy. In a dimly lit courtroom, she faced a formidable inquisitor determined to condemn her as a false prophet. Joan, resolute in her beliefs, maintained that her actions were guided by divine inspiration. The trial unfolded as a battle of wills, a clash between the earthly and the divine. In the end, Joan's unwavering faith proved to be her greatest strength. Despite the Inquisitor's relentless efforts, the court could not break her spirit. Joan of Arc, the Maid of Orléans, was ultimately declared a heroine, not a heretic. Yet, as the echoes of the trial faded away, Joan felt a profound sense of solitude. The war had taken its toll on her, both physically and spiritually. The voices that once guided her began to fade, leaving her in a quiet emptiness. She returned to her humble village, a war-weary hero burdened by the weight of her divine calling. Joan of Arc, once a beacon of hope, faded into obscurity. The whispers of her divine encounters became tales of legend, and the village of Domremy returned to its quiet existence. The young girl who had defied the odds and changed the course of history was lost to time, leaving behind a legacy that would forever be etched in the annals of medieval lore.